Hey everybody, so today I'm here to give you guys another breast pump comparison. Today we are going to be comparing the Spectra S2 against the Lansinoh Signature Pro and the SMARTPump. Now the reason that I did it like this was because the Lansinoh Signature Pro and the SMARTPump are the same exact motor. There is nothing different with their motors at all. They are the same in that respects. Now there is a difference in smart capabilities obviously, but when it came down to the function of the motor, I felt like making two completely separate videos comparing them to the Spectra S2 was just a little bit redundant when it basically comes down to smart capabilities or not. If you guys are interested in seeing more detailed reviews, I have one for all of these pumps that I will have linked down below for you guys. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run down my list. I'm going to compare the pumps as I normally do, and then at the end I will go over the Lansinoh versus Spectra part of it and give you my opinion. The Lansinoh Signature Pro versus the Spectra S2, and also the Lansinoh SMARTPump versus the Spectra S2. That way everything is all here for you, and I will also include how I feel about the Lansinoh Signature Pro versus the SMARTPump, because that's just a really quick tidbit and it's just something I get asked quite frequently, so I thought I would just answer it here while I have all these pumps to compare to each other. As always, if you're curious about why I chose what I did and all the thorough research I did behind each little part, I will have the very first breast pump video linked for you guys to watch. Now first up is price, and that is where each one of these pumps differ from each other. The Spectra S2 is $120 on Amazon. The Lansinoh SMARTPump is $200. It does go on sale for $140 sometimes. And the Lansinoh Signature Pro is around $150, $120. Now that being said, these pumps are some of the most popular ones being covered by insurances. The Spectra S2 is the most common I see on insurances. It's very widely covered now. The Lansinoh Signature Pro is on quite a few as well, and even the SMARTPump as well. I think what they're trying to do is slowly phase out the Signature Pro and only have the SMARTPump. I could be wrong, but that's what it kind of seems like it's doing. The SMARTPump isn't on as many insurances as what the Signature Pro is, but it is being offered, and I will say the insurances that I've seen it offered through, it's not an upgrade, it's just one of the ones that you can choose from. So that being said, if you could choose any of these from your insurances, obviously I would say they all tie, but when it comes down to price and paying out of pocket, that just kind of depends. Typically I would say that Spectra S2 wins. It is the cheapest on Amazon. However, if you're lucky enough to find a Signature Pro in store, especially at Walmart stores, it seems like they're being discounted very much, like $50, like that's the total price. So if you find a Signature Pro brand new in a box at Walmart for $50, it definitely obviously takes the cake. But as far as just regular circumstances go, the Spectra S2 wins this one. It is very cloudy where I live today, so please don't mind the spotty lighting throughout this video. But the next is function and ease of use. Now I would say that these kind of tie because they're different, but they're also the same. They both have a learning curve to them, but I feel like in different ways. The Spectra has different like numbers and letters and like a lot of variations between the cycle rates and the suction and everything else, so it does take you a little bit to learn that. However, the Lansinoh does offer different modes you can pump in, and it just kind of is all about feeling what you want. They both offered such a wide variety that I feel like they both do have that learning curve, but neither of them are super hard to learn, and I would say about a month after using each of them, I had them pretty down pat. So they tie in that category. The next is recommendations and reviews. The Spectra is very highly recommended. I feel like it's very popular amongst the mom groups. I hear it talked about quite frequently. It had a 4.8 star rating on Google. And then as far as the Lansinoh goes, it's not talked about very much. I hardly ever hear anything about it. I will say that when I do hear people talking about it, they really like it. And as far as Google goes, it had a 4.9 star rating, so I feel like they could tie in this area, but I kind of want to give it to Spectra more because they are so widely talked about when it comes to word of mouth. So I would say Spectra wins this as well. Next up is portability and power options. As you can see, the Spectra S2 is kind of a bigger pump. It comes with just a regular wall adapter, nothing else. And then as far as the Lansinoh pumps go, they are very small and compact. As I said, both of the Smart Pump and the Signature Pro are the same exact motor, so same exact size, and everything that I'm talking about is offered with it on both versions. And as you can see, it does have a battery pack that will send your batteries out flying. No, I totally forgot it even had batteries in there, but yeah, it does come with a battery pack, no extra charge obviously, and it does come with the standard wall adapter as well. So I feel like because the Lansinoh is all around the smaller pump, it's very light, and because it does have the battery pack already included, it hands down wins this section. Next up is accessibility to spare or replacement parts, and I feel like they again tie in this area because they are both semi-difficult to get genuine parts from. With Spectra, you can only get genuine parts from them through their website. They are kind of pricey. There's also shipping, but you can get third-party parts on Amazon kind of cheap. Again, that's just kind of at your own risk because third-party parts are probably going to void your warranty. And when it comes to Lansinoh, they do have some spare parts, if you could call them that. It's more like accessory packs, and you have to basically buy a whole new set again. They do have those in stores, so it's like a tiny bit easier, but if you want to replace certain things, you can go to their website, and that's why I'm going to give this to the Lansinoh, because it does break it down. I mean, I could go on there and I could only buy, and don't mind this, I'm sorry, I just used this, just pumped. I didn't know it was going to be showing you guys, so I would have had clean parts if I knew that. But if I wanted to go on and I wanted to only get the lids, I can get the lids. If I only wanted to go on and get this purple membrane, I could only get that. Basically, they break down all their parts and you can buy them individually if you need to. So because the Lansinoh is just a tiny bit more convenient and they also offer more variety, I'm going to give this one to Lansinoh. Number 6 is customer service, and I like both of their customer services. I've talked to members from each team. They have always been polite, eager to help, have absolutely no complaints about either of them. Number 7 is durability, and for this I would say they both perform very well. So again, I would say that they tie in that area. And when it comes to noise level, again, I think they are very, very similar. They both can be loud if you crank the settings up quite high, but they can also be very quiet if you don't do that. So I feel like they are pretty similar, especially because they both have that vibrating sound to it, where it's not like it's more like a hum to it. So they definitely sound a lot alike. Now, a couple extra parts: they are both closed system pumps, which mean they have a mechanism in place somewhere in their parts to prevent any milk from getting to the motor. They are also supposed to be single user pumps, which means they are only intended to have one owner the entire length of their use. And they both offer two-phase expression, which is just to mimic baby's natural sucking pattern, where they suck very fast at first to stimulate milk, and then they do longer sucks to draw it out. So as you could tell, they are quite similar pumps. I feel like there's a lot of similarities between the two, and honestly, looking back at using each one of them, because there was only a short period of time where I used both of them and that time overlapped, but looking back to my time with each of them, I don't have very many complaints for either of them. They both performed very well. But when it comes down to my personal preference, I would say it is the Lansinoh, and that's what wins for me. That is because with the Spectra, I could not get a high enough frequency for me. They are both very gentle pumps. They both are very comfortable. That was never an issue with either of them, and it just came down to needing a higher frequency. My Lansinoh, like I've mentioned, has those different modes, so I'm able to get that higher frequency that I need for myself. Now, I was able to accomplish that sometimes with the letdown mode, staying the entire time in letdown mode with my Spectra, but sometimes even that just wasn't quite high enough. Again, this is just a personal thing that I need to have when I'm pumping. And another reason why it won for me as well was the battery pack that's included on the back of this, because that is just so convenient, especially where I've been living recently. We have been having a lot of power outages, so I found that super convenient. I'm not worried if my power goes out, I can still pump, no problem. So just to recap, when it comes to the Lansinoh Signature Pro versus the Spectra, I would definitely give it to the Lansinoh Signature Pro, especially if you for some reason have to pay out of pocket for your pump and you're able to find one, like I said, discounted at a store. Hands down, I would recommend it. And when it comes to the Lansinoh SMARTPump versus the Spectra, I would again give it to the Lansinoh because it does have those smart capabilities. I think that's really cool. It worked very well when I was using it. I have stopped tracking my ounces, so I don't use it much anymore, but it was very convenient when I was using it and I was tracking my ounces. Because the Spectra is $120 on Amazon, if you're able to catch the Smart Pump on sale for $140, you basically be paying $20 for that smart feature, and I think it's well worth that money, especially because this is a lot more lighter, it's a lot more compact. You would be getting a lot more with it opposed to the Spectra. So when it comes to the Signature Pro versus the Smart Pump, if you're able to get the Signature Pro for a cheap price, obviously that's going to win. But if it's between those two, I would just go with the Smart Pump because, like I said, they're the same motor. It's just a little extra added convenience for you to have that smart feature, and I think it's really cool. Like I said, I found it useful. All in all, it was a really tight race. I think that they are both great pumps, but personally, I prefer the Lansinoh a little bit more than the Spectra. If you guys have any questions, leave them down below for me. I will do my best to answer them, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks for watching.